Very good morning, friends. I'm very delighted to present to you the third presentation today, March 7th, Tuesday. This is on EHS, how it is getting implemented, what are the practical ways the sites do it. So I'm going to cover it in about 20-25 minutes based on the EHS strategies, what are the EHS challenges, how to go about turning those strategies into workable plans, and then what are the metrics and what are the objectives through which it is worked, and what are the skills that are needed by EHS personnel to apply it. This is all based on what I had done over 30 years, and I was very lucky to have done this over my career in about 4 continents, spreading about 45 sites. So I thought that I will share this with you, and if you have any questions, comments, please feel free to contact me. As I said, glad to help. So this is the third lecture in the series on EHS State of the Nation and what are the things that have come out. So the presentation follows, and I am once again thanks all the folks for giving feedback and other aspects. I've also started a blog. You can track it. I will post the link. Please feel free to give your comments. Thank you and have a great day. Very good afternoon, friends. It's great to do this session, the third one on which I have started giving out on State of EHS Nation. This is I thought of doing this live, and I'd sent an invite, but for whatever reason folks have not responded, so I just thought I would post it on the YouTube. So I'm always thankful for all the people for comments, suggestions, encouragement, both on my EHS blog as well as these YouTube videos. This session covers how the EHS implementation happens in a facility which has achieved EHS excellence. This is kind of what the nuts and bolts, as they call, how it gets transferred, and what I have done is I've tried to give it in about 30 minutes to give a shot, and as we go forward we will drill down to each of the components in a detailed sessions. So this is what the EHS aspects look like, in terms of people. The summary is people, culture, process, metrics, and technology, and link to strategic planning and vision. So as I said, this is what strategic planning is key. I mean, what is that key thing that great companies do is they plan, and then they do execute. So I mean, the main thing is you plan well, you are not in for shocks and surprises. That's where the risks and portfolios help, and you will see. And execution is the discipline of getting things done. I mean, this is a famous words from Larry Bossidy, the ex-chief of Honeywell. I mean, you need to have the execution. I mean, plans are nice, but you need to execute, and discipline is the key aspect that goes into it to make that happen. So that's where as I keep saying, the knowing doing gap. I mean, many companies know many things, but it all boils down to how you do. So if the gap between what you know versus what you do is very less, then the success happens. So how the companies plan the strategy, how the 5-year visualization looks like. So this is what the overall overarching aspect of EHS is captured. And what usually we do is we look at it from a 3 kind of aspects: low complexity, medium complexity, and high complexity, the aspects engaged in it. And as you would see in this graph, they are well represented. And what we do is how the external drivers, I mean, the various factors that influence the business, the legislative, that's the rules and regulations and components, then financial, of course, we are here to make bottom line profits. That's what I keep saying, I mean, we are here to make profits. Rest all is next. And social aspects, I mean, the environment around which you work, the people, the culture, what kind of village you are. I mean, some places are more hostile, some places are more business friendly. So those aspects, technological, of course, I mean, technology keeps changing. I mean, so you need to have that. And competitive, how good are your competitors, how ahead of the curve you are. So these aspects are looked at it, and you work out your 5-year strategy for these parameters. Like, I mean, there are various aspects here. I won't go into each one of it, but if you see some of the things that go, the things that are moving, like with the impact on business is, the third world enforcements, the developing nations. No longer, it's easy to do business in third world. I mean, the costs are going up, the legislations are catching up. So, what was cheap alternatives are now moving to as good as, so that now in 5 years, the cost of doing business from a legal standpoint would be same in a developing country, say as China or Brazil, vis-a-vis United States or Europe. So, so you need to really plan through that. And as you see here, product stewardship is getting a big thing. Customers are becoming more and more curious about what they want to know about the products. And needless to say, energy. I mean, you would have known, I mean, prices are going up, scarcity, and more natural resources aspects. So this is a big challenge. So that's where when you plan around this is where the EHS footprint happens in terms of safety, in terms of environment, in terms of health, and also the business continuity. After tsunami of 2011, this has become the BCM BIA. This is also becoming a huge impact. How will you manage the business without impacts, and what are your alternate sites to do business so that your supplier is not put into hardship. So this is now a major requirement that many companies need to declare it to their shareholders, especially in Wall Street, that how your next 3 to 6 months looks from an interruption standpoint, and would you face any challenges. And so you need to have a good educated guess as to how things would go. So if you capture this right, and if you are able to align this to your 3 to 5 year vision, and then work around that to aligning it to your business, that's what. So what does the future hold? I mean, I don't want to read it line by line, but today health, safety, and environment has become a big factor to determine who is a good CEO. No longer it's financial reportings. So that's where 20% weightage is given to HSE and sustainability. That's where, although Amazon is a number one company, or ExxonMobil is number one company in terms of profits, so companies like Novo Nordisk and others are now bagging the award as the top CEO because of their phenomenal EHS performance. So that's where it's happening, and a lot of restrictions on products substituted now, tougher laws, as I said. The Congo Minerals Act, the Dodd-Frank, and they have all really come, and you need to really know what's happening in your supply chain so that you are not in for some shocks. Climate change, no need to discuss about that. Again, last but not the least, talent availability. I mean, today you are really having talent shortage. I mean, I know of sites where site companies, for whatever reasons, are still not able to get replacements for good positions in EHS 1 year down the line. So it's not so easy, and very challenging aspects also with business continuity. A lot of also the vulnerability from security standpoint. I mean, I just recollect the Middle East areas where a lot of pressure and liability is extending a lot. No longer today, customers will just go to court for anything. So these are all the aspects you need to really look at it from a very broader and top line overview to have a good plans in place and transfer it to your business thinking and aligning it to your business values. I mean, each company has its own values, and this is what the things look like. You need to align it in terms of what are your top things. I mean, many companies have this kind of growth and new initiatives, productivity, excellence, triple bottom line. That's a big thing that's happening nowadays. Equity, environment, employees. So how we are going to cover it all, that three E's, they call it triple bottom line. So you need to really align everything of it, of your EHS components, to match the business objectives and have some plans to work around that. Of course, we always cash is the king. Ultimately you need to make profits, so that's where your efforts in terms of reducing the energy waste, optimizing capital. I mean, I have known cases where companies allocate capitals, but at the end of the year not even 80% is spent. That's a criminal offense. I mean, so you need to really plan well and work the capital, because fund not used is money which you could have dead. So you need to really plan the capital well and work the allocations. That's where EHS folks need to know beyond the business aspects and align themselves to all the other functions to manage the various aspects of business. Human resources, very essential. People are the key to any organization. I mean, profits are there, but people only drive it. So I mean, needless to say, that's the soul of organizations. And Six Sigma and digitizations, I mean, we'll see it in the future slides. So that's where it's very essential that EHS strategies, as in the previous slide, needs to align it to annual operating day-to-day aspects and work the aspects. And of course the professional implementation is also a key, and make happen to excellence. So how the management systems happen? Very simple. I mean, sometimes I really feel why people can't understand that. It's all about leadership. I mean, very key aspect. Without leadership nothing works. I keep harping it. And then risk assessments. I mean, very positive aspect nowadays with the new ISO systems, focusing more on it, and the risk management. So if you see all the elements of the new standards, ISO 9000 or 14000 or the OSHA's 18001 coming out as ISO 45001, these are all the aspects. Straightforward from a leadership perspective, work a good policy, have a very good structure, work the objectives and targets, work aligning it to your business goals through strategic planning. Have a good plans, translate those targets into plans, measurable, specific, we call it specific, measurable, accountable, result oriented, and timeline. And every end of the year or once in 6 months do a good review. And the risk assessments, the part is the legal requirements, monitoring, measurements, self assessments. I mean, you need to have calibrations. What gets measured gets done, as you would see. And the mitigation aspects through operational control procedures, good documentation, corrective and preventive actions. Of course, preventive action is now gone with ISO 45001 coming in. So, it's all corrective action. The very purpose of doing ISOs is to have a preventive action in place, so that you are far ahead of the curve. Product stewardship, how your product matches, what will you do as you go beyond your fence. Business continuity and management of change, very critical aspect. I mean, sometimes many of the disasters you see will happen only due to change, so you need to have a firm grip and work around it. So how do we achieve these goals? I mean, as I said, what gets measured gets done, and if you can't measure, don't do it. I mean, that's where we really felt that the next step says that bad metric is far better than no metric. Some start measuring with something and then try to iterate and then work around it, and then always work on current year's performance, work in terms of budgets, work a zero-based budgeting, so that you are able to justify everything, not because it was given last year, I need next year. So the targets that are there can be improved from baseline. Productivity changes, I mean, very essential. If you are just measuring something without linking it to your productivity, there is absolutely no use. So any metric you do need to be linked to your production. What is your revenue, what is it, safety per $1 billion revenue, or environmental performance, sustainability. So link it to productivity, to the cost of doing business, so then the value add happens. That's where. So as you link it to productivity, so definitely you will have an impact. When productivity is more, you will have cushion, and when productivity is less, you will have an adverse impact to work the improvements. No sites and businesses are involved. There's no point in setting EHS targets without taking business and sites into confidence. So you need to they need to give the inputs, and then you fine tune. That's where you as a professional will work as a coach and mentor and work around, so that that something is not pushed down or shoved down their throats. So and as I said, it is agreed. So straightforward, as I said, ownership has to happen. EHS, the good companies do EHS as ownership. I mean, nobody is forced to do it. Is become an intrinsic value as good as safety, quality, productivity, inventory, delivery, and cost of doing business. And guidance, the EHS facilitator manager acts as a mentor and coach, and works the process with soft skills, as we had seen in the last presentation. So that's where the relationship building is key, and works. And then, as I said, measurements. So you will see in the slides how these things happen. So in terms of key terms, STRAP, that's what I said, strategic planning, 4 to 5 years, as you saw in those slides. Annual operating plans, that's where it is rolls up from site to country, region, global, so that so each you will be able to drill down to see where it's what is happening, and then you are able to work it. So when you manage 45 sites, naturally it goes back from region to country and back to site, and see if the numbers are getting skewed or numbers are being pulled, where is it that it happens, so that you are able to work the corrective actions. Capital is very essential, so that's where a very good budgeting process is needed, both in terms of infrastructure as well as expenses. So realistic, and work for about 5 years and then drill down again. So if you have a good plan, you will know what exactly is the capital. And I mean, that's what I said in my usual presentations. If you are right, 80% numbers also, people are happy. Nobody wants you at 95%. So 5 years before, if you are able to now say that I would be 80% accurate, people would far appreciate you for having projected it, and they will always drill down to the next 20% as the time evolves. Because the other side today is challenges. 5 years down the line, what will be the business like? Would you be even around? So that's where it's a big thing. I can't say enough about leadership. That's where get personally involved, listen. That's what are the hallmark of leaders, so that's what you as EHS leaders need to really listen, because people make things happen. Make your involvement meaningful. Positive perceptions. Many times perceptions matters. You may be a great guy, but if your perception about you is different, you will be heading nowhere. So that's where it's very positive perceptions need to be worked. That's where it comes from visible felt leadership, that people are able to work that, and work the organization performance, individual performance. They are all tied. That's where then it linked to rewards and recognition. So your goals align to organization goals, business goals and performances, so that you are rewarded. And people engagement, very essential. Be visible, talk to people. People know a lot. They know a lot more. So sometimes they don't tell for whatever reason. Again, the culture of the organization. So be visible, talk to them. As I said before, I don't know, what do you think? I don't know, what do you think? I don't know, what do you think? People will really tell you the way forward. As I said, reward and recognition is the key, and discipline, so that you are able to set norms, and then people are expected to follow, and non-compliance has no place. So that's where it is very essential, and lead by examples. So what are the basic EHS metrics that a good facility measures? Safety, waste, energy, environmental excursions, and units manufactured. So these are all the things that are tied up, and FAIR is the first aid incident rate. So every report, every accident or incident is reported, and then you work the total case incidents in which injuries and lost work days, so that people how many days that gives the severity of incidents. Good companies, what they do, they measure the total non-productive output. So waste is not just about hazardous waste and non-hazardous waste, it's also about recycling, how much you recycle back in various scenarios. And so the total non-productive output is anything that is not productive. So anything other than product is a non-productive. So you need to measure it and then link it to productivity and see how you can bring it down so that the wastes are minimized, so MUDA as we call it. Energy, very essential. That's where it's linked to strategic planning, excursions, spills, leaks and all that, so that you don't have issues with your neighboring communities and others. All linked to units manufactured. So per kg of product or per unit, what are these factors? And water is a key metric, you will see that. And so you need to really work and measure the man hours worked by everybody, employees, contractors and visitors as separate functions, and then align it to as required. So how these things happen, these are all nice. So how the strategy gets plans get transferred into reality. We call it the 5-star model: strategy, structure, systems, measurements and people capability. So this is where the rubber hits the road, so in terms of various aspects. A3 is what the Toyota model call it, long-term plans with the strategy turning into actions with targets, and you will be able to know and who will do it by when. Structures, very essential. And safety reps are the people who are the eyes and ears of safety at the shop floor level or the functional level. So everybody contributes it, and it all scales up. Process and systems, very linked to management systems, operating procedures, work instructions, checklist, various aspects, and more so through visual management, so that people can comprehend through what do you call as a picture is worth 1,000 words. Measurements, very critical aspect, stretch goals measured, and proactive indicators, safety perception survey. You need to know the culture of your site, climate as we call it, how is it. And software tools is a must. You no longer Excel is, I am just, when I go around, I still see Excel as a tool to work the metrics. So you need to really move to basic softwares. It doesn't cost much these days, so that you will be able to drill down and work some data interpretations, and so that system takes care of itself rather than you manually updating. With so much data, you may easily miss something, and then it can even have issues. So go for software. And people capability is training people and work around it. So very what do you call as simple, but as I said, execution is discipline, and the knowing doing gap. None of it you wouldn't have known, but how much you do through implementation, and how much support you get through from your leaders, peers, and what are you going to do about it to make it a success. This is what great organizations measure everything. So what gets measured gets done. If it's not measured, it's not worth doing in the first place. So if you don't have metrics, even try some proxy metrics. So it's good to start with something, and as you do it, you will learn, and then you will get the idea, this is the right way to go about it. So always look for metrics, how I can measure it, and then try to improve on it. As I said, this is what is a kind of safety metrics used in practically in sites and measured. So the key factor here is, if it's above 80, it's all turns green automatically, and no discussion. So your time is even given back when you discuss with your site manager, the regional manager, the global manager, the business directors. So it saves time. So where there is red, you will have discussion. So these are all some of the metrics that are measured in terms of proactive and reactive, in terms of audits, in terms of meetings, corrective actions, closes, we call it the smoking gun. So whatever you find out through your inspections, audits, legal compliance, visits, enforcement, corrective actions, you need to categorize them into three types, what you can close within 60 days and what you can close within 180 days. And if you can't close within 180 days, you need to leave it. You are no longer responsible. So it escalated upwards to your boss's boss or somebody who needs to then get the allocation done in terms of funding, so that it doesn't come to haunt you. So let's say you need a sprinkler. The sprinkler will cost you $1 million, and if your total safety budget is 1 million, there's no way you can do it. So that's where your boss needs to escalate it and gets it, so it doesn't count against you for your safety performance. So that's where it would have come in your strap, it would have come in your annual operating plans, and so you should know the challenges and then work around it. So corrective actions are very, very essential. I mean, if you see some of the accidents, some of the corrective actions, you will see that they are not been closed for 10 years, 20 years. So then those are all the smoking guns, leads to issues. Management systems, you need to really go for it. It really do value add. Then in terms of training hours, good companies do 40 hours per employee per year. So see how best you can work around it. So then the perception surveys, accident rate, electricity, gas. So what it happens is, some are inputs, some are outputs. So the inputs are independent and outputs depend on inputs. So the ratios are given. So, and if we exceed the targets also, as you see in column F, you will not be rewarded exceeding that. So let's say target is 527, this side did 911. So they won't get more than the maximum. So that so it doesn't happen that when you roll up at country level or global level, the weaker sites are protected by stronger sites. No. So that's where you are not rewarded for excessive performance, but you can feel it's good. So sometimes when you don't have time, this the weaker performance in some months can overcome within your site for the poor performance for whatever reason. So this is where a metric is, and when you do a reviews, the reds that are there are discussed, and to know what is it that happens. People capability, very essential. So what is that today the EHS person do? There is a reality now and future optimal. This is where the maturity path happens in organizations that are moved towards EHS, and the EHS guy acts as a leadership team. He works as an internal consultant, so that the jobs are split down the line to safety is an undivided line responsibility. And so that's where the EHS rep, as I said, they act as the the contact points for EHS manager, and works around it. And standard works are ensured so that the right way to do the job with procedures arising out of risk assessments, the risk portfolios are worked, and you are able to very clearly know what are the risks that you are to accept and work the mitigation plans. And also the compliance is very essential, and also you need to know what are the threats to your business, what are the future legislations that can have an impact on your business. So that's where then if the EHS manager is taken off from the routines which can pull him down, he can look at it from a larger perspective and see the decisions and then work around it to work what he call as the lobbying, so that the impact on business is less. That's where we add the value add to business. And overall again monitor performance, measure it, work it, and then correct it. So to do that, what an EHS person or what he needs to, I really talk this about every time, because soft skills only matter. Technology is going to take care of everything, that things will happen due to machines, robots, and systems, software. People are the key, and this is where it's very pertaining that you need to have these kind of characters to work. So it's not about what you learn, it's what about how you execute. That's key aspect, and that comes only from the soft skills and experience and learning, and willing to learn and grow, and having an open mind to adapt. I would say that here the one key aspect here is no instant success. EHS is hard grind. Credentials a tool, not an entitlement. Because I'm saying that I have NABASH, I have IOSH, I have CSP. They don't count to nothing. I mean, I can say that they are only enablers unless you really put the actions through your strategic planning, visualization, implementation, delivering results. It's really what you have achieved rather than what your qualification. So sometimes people ask me, I want to do this, I want to do that. So my answer is just continue to do what you are doing, and once you excel it, see what you can do further. So it's very aspect. So how today organizations have moved ahead. So this is what high reliability organizations where the failure rates are not tolerated, and they have moved beyond BBS, and error is part of human condition. That's where we call the anti-BBS approach. It's more towards management commitments, shared accountability, job design for safety, learning process for safety, and safe outcomes. So many organizations have ventured into this over the last year or so, and that's where, as I keep saying, infrastructure, leadership are the key. So sound infrastructure through risk mitigation, identifying your risk, working the plans through capital, through training, through programs, procedures, legal compliance, zero fatality programs, good systems, management systems, integrity, equipment integrity. So when you do all that and then work the procedures, and still you need to know people are there to make mistakes. So how will you work around that? You make it happen and move towards it. Last couple of slides. New risk. I mean, the ISO 45001 expected later this year. Again, linking it to risk-based approach, risk portfolios. As I saw in the first slide, strategic planning to risk and work those aspects. And this is the slide that captures everything. The process, events, cost, enterprise, loss prevention, information. So when you work around this through your risk and then work the risk mitigation through the risk portfolios and acceptable layers of protection, whatever the risk above you mitigate, less you accept, and then write the procedures or capital and make it happen. You are very clear with your risk mitigation plan. My last slide, right? Keep calm and smash the document control. The new slide, the new standards have really given freedom to companies to work the evidence to implement it. So I would say that it's a boon. So as long as you show visible objective evidences for your assessments and work the measurements, you can really make it happen. And the other thing, the assessments is what they're one of the balanced scorecard. You measure yourself say once in a year and see where you are standing with respect to the safety systems, norms and standards, and so that will give you a good confidence and able to work the issues that need to be escalated to the top management through your internal assessment systems. And when external audits happen, they are more or less aligned, and you are in for no nasty surprises. I think the main essential thing, as I would conclude, is good organizations avoid surprises and they work towards it. The surprise is the last thing that happens. Even the funding, the planning, they are not in for any surprises. So that's the key, and that's where it all happens. So with that, I would conclude, and again I am thankful. I think I have gone for about 30-35 minutes, and I will upload this, and thank you for your time. Good day, and God bless.